Hello guys, and welcome to the Perfect Timepiece channel. My name is Josh, and today we are going to be talking about the top 5 affordable alternatives to the Omega SMP 300 or the Omega Seamaster with the model number, I think, 2531.80. I have a script down here to make sure that I keep the video going and keep it on track. So this watch is $2,700 new, which is kind of a lot, in my opinion, to pay for a piece like this. I think it's probably more, probably worth or equivalent to watches that are closer to the $1,500 range. And if you actually look at the used market, this piece in good condition comes in at about $1,500. So all of the affordable alternatives that I picked today were in that 1,000 and under kind of category. And that's kind of why I went on that big long tangent, was to explain that all of these alternatives are under $1,000. And in this one, I actually have some brands that I haven't talked about before, so this should be somewhat interesting. Now, up first, we have the Christopher Ward C60 Trident Pro 600 meters. If you guys are, familiar with my channel, you know that I actually have a version of this watch with a black dial and a black face. And I think, a black bezel, excuse me. And I think that this watch is pretty similar to the Omega, simply because it does have that wave pattern on the design of the dial. And there should be a picture of all of these watches as soon as I say their name over here, to this side of me. And yeah, so these can be a little bit tricky to find. The one that I picked today that is comparable to the Omega is the one with a blue face and a blue bezel. I do think that it is very, very similar to the Omega SMP 300. And these watches, the Christopher Ward Trident Pro 600 meters, are on sale right now at the Christopher Ward website for, I think, around $700, but they are not currently offering the blue dial version. So if the color of the dial is really significant to you, then you're gonna have to look at the used market for the Christopher Wards, but again, they're even going to be a better value. Honestly, the Christopher Ward Trident Pro 600 is the best feeling watch that I have experienced to date that I've owned. So I do think that it is up to the level of quality as the Omega. Now, moving on to the second affordable alternative, we're talking about the Oris Aquis, obviously with the blue dial. Now, I personally have not owned one of these, but I have heard amazing things on the forums and on the YouTube, in YouTube and in the community about Auris. I think they have outstanding build quality, and from what I've seen, they are very beautiful pieces. Now, I found one on Amazon for just about $760 with a metal bracelet. From what I've heard, again, the Auris metal bracelets are pretty solid, so I do think that it is very comparable to the Omega bracelet. And yeah, the picture over here, before I move on, just a quick note, the picture over here of this Auris is not a really good representation of the color. I do urge you to go ahead and Google the Oris Aquis blue, and you'll find better pictures of the watch than what I am showing you. So yeah, let's move on to the next suggestion. And this suggestion is, this company is a little bit of a debated topic in the watch community, but I do think that it is a really interesting blue dial diver that is similar to the Omega SMP 300. This is the Squale 1521 blue with a brushed case. I personally like it with the brushed, and I do believe that it matches the Omega SMP 300 better. Yeah, so this one is interesting. Again, it has a very similar indice design to the Omega, and it does have that date window that the Omega had. And this one is just, it's going for just about $1,000 on the Squale website. Again, these are really hard to find used, just because everybody who picks one up generally loves these Squale 1521s. So you're either going to have to buy it new from Squale, or you're going to have to wait a while until people are ready to sell them. Now, this wouldn't be a perfect timepiece video if I didn't throw in at least a few watches under $500. That's kind of like my specialty, I guess, at this point. So up next we have the Seiko well, let me read this. I don't want to mess it up. The SBDC033. And this one comes in just at $450 on Amazon, and I think it's just around $500 on JomaShop. And links for all of the watches that can be found on Amazon will be down in the description down below. The ones that I've mentioned that aren't on Amazon, you know, I'm recommending them, and I don't get paid to recommend them. So you should definitely know by now that my opinions are genuine. So this is a little bit different. I think this is a much bigger piece than the Omega SMP 300. Wow, tripping over my words today. But this is the Seiko Sumo Blue, and I do think that it is very interesting. I think that the numbering style on the bezel is very similar to the Omega SMP 300, and I do think that it is a little bit old school. In that way, I think that it kind of brings the theme or the overall look of this Seiko watch together. So I don't think you could go wrong with this Seiko, and I do think that it is probably worth the $500. Now, the last watch is kind of interesting because it costs almost nothing. I mean, compared to the $2,700 Omega that we're talking about today. This is the Orient Ray II. And this watch has a pretty interesting story, but first I want to talk a little bit about what makes it similar to the Omega. First of all, this has a day and date complication, while the Omega just has the date complication. The numbering on the bezel is fairly similar, although the Orient does have a little bit of a different design. The Orient and all the other watches, except for the Christopher Ward, don't have that wave pattern on the dial. And the cool thing about the Orient, though, is that it actually has on its second hand a red little arrow, and I do think, you know, second hands with a red tip have a soft spot in my heart, so I think I may actually pick this watch up pretty soon. But let me kind of go back to what I said before. This watch has a really interesting story. Orient first came out with the Ray I, and they basically listened to the feedback from the watch community, took that all in, talked with their engineering team, and came out with the Ray II. So this watch is, you know, fully it hacks, it hand winds, and I do believe they even upgraded the display glass. So I do think that it is a very solid watch, especially considering that you're only paying $200 for it. I think sometime in the near future, hopefully, I will be reviewing this watch on my channel because it just packs so much in for the price, and I may even spend my own hard-earned money on it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what a better recommendation you could get than, you know, I will probably buy this piece at some point in time. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up our top 5 affordable alternatives for the Omega SMP 300. I'm sorry for stumbling over my words and all that. I'm a little sick and it's kind of been a busy day. But as always, thanks for watching. If you would like to support the show, check out the link down below to go to our Patreon. If you support our Patreon with as little as $1 a month, you will get a exclusive video every single month, and you'll be able to view it 30 days before anybody else. So that is very interesting. And with that, I am done selling to you. Thank you so much for watching again. I will see you all later. Bye.